And in this video, I want to tell you a story about shame and fear, how it affected me in my life, how I became free of it, and how you can too. So when I was a kid, I got lost at the supermarket, and I think this probably happened more than once, but one particular event that I can remember sticks out in my mind. It sticks out in my mind as fear and shame and not being good. It sticks out as disapproval and disappointment and frustration by my mother. It sticks out as feeling like if I don't do things right, if I don't please others, I'm not going to be okay. And it sticks out as just fear of doing the wrong thing, of making a mistake. Can you relate to any of those things? Are you concerned about what other people think of you? Are you afraid of making mistakes? Do you feel fear and shame and anxiety and uncertainty? Do you feel like you're doing it wrong, like you're not enough, like there's not enough, like something bad is going to happen? You're waiting for the shoe to drop, for something to come out of the shadows and eat you? Let's talk about that. So, one of the things that happened for me was I was lost in the supermarket. Now, as a child, you're curious. You go looking for things. You're kind of distracted by shiny objects, and your parent is doing their thing, buying groceries, paying attention to labels and prices and grocery lists and things like that. If you have children, you know how this is, and you have to keep track of the child, and you have to make sure that they don't get lost or run off, and all of these things. And it's difficult, right? It's challenging. It's something that we all experience as parents. Well, on this particular day in a Piggly Wiggly, which is a chain of stores, if you've never heard of, that I don't even know if they exist anymore, but back in the day they did in these really small towns, and we lived in a small town, and I was grocery shopping with my mother, and somehow I guess I got one aisle over somewhere, and she thought I was lost. She couldn't find me. So she went to the manager. She went up to the front of the store, and she told the manager to call me on the intercom. Now, I'm sure by this point she was probably afraid, but also angry and frustrated, and quite honestly, and this is a pattern that I know to be true over the course of my childhood, looking to punish me a little bit for misbehaving, for being bad. And so over the intercom came my name, calling me to the front. And as a child, I was confused. It took me a while for me to hear my name, but when I finally did, I came to the front of the store. There's the store manager looking at me. There's my mother looking at me disapprovingly, angry, disappointed. She's embarrassed. She's embarrassed for herself that she had to have me called on the intercom, and she told me as much, that I had embarrassed her, that I needed to stay with her, that I hadn't done it right. And so this was something that really stood out to me as fear and shame and punishment for not doing it right, for making a mistake. It was something that I needed to be different in order to be accepted and approved of and loved by her. It was something that she used in order to punish me. Embarrassment, public ridicule was something that she used to embarrass me, to try to get me to do what she wanted me to do so that she wouldn't be embarrassed. Now, I'm not blaming her. I've moved on from being the victim in these stories and her being the villain in these stories. I've moved on to being the hero in my own story, and that is where I recognize that she was doing the best that she could. And I know this to be true because as a parent, I've made mistakes and I've said things and done things that I'm not happy with. That at that time, though, I was doing the best that I could with what I had, what I knew, where I was. My intentions were good. My heart was good. I thought that I was doing the right thing. But then when I look back on it, I go, well, I probably wasn't at my best, and that probably wasn't the best way to handle it. So I know if I was doing my best, that she was doing her best as well. Even though the experience of that may not have been all that great, I didn't like it, I don't want more of it, I didn't enjoy it, but she was doing her best. So So these things, though, are transformative. They're the part of the story that starts to get written, part of the operating instructions, the rules that we create for ourselves, where we say through our experiences, oh, I have to do this. I can't do that. I have to be someone that these people approve of, that pleases them, so that I will be okay, so that they won't be mad at me, so that I'll be safe. And then we start to disown parts of ourselves. We start to say, oh, I can't do that. I can't be that person. I can't sometimes even think that, because that makes us feel like we're a bad person for even thinking things. And so we disown ourselves. We hide from ourselves. We reject part of ourselves. And some men have described this as feeling shattered. And this is something that we work on in coaching. This is something that I would like to invite you into right now. I'd like to invite you into a conversation about these things, about these experiences. I would like for you and I to walk and talk for a little bit, where you tell me what it is that's bothering you, and I listen more deeply, probably than anyone else in your life. A lot of times people want to cut you off. They want to fix your problem. They want to tell you what you should do or how you should live or why you shouldn't think that way. But I don't want to do that. I want to listen to what you have to say. I do want to ask some questions when it's appropriate and be able to mirror back to you some of the things you're saying, so that you can get the clarity for yourself about how you want to live, how you want to let go of these things, to be able to challenge some of those rules, some of those operating instructions that we've built up over time about who we need to be loved, to be accepted, to be worthy, to be valuable. We want to challenge those things, and I'll share my own personal insights with you, my journey with you. I'll share insights from the men that I've coached with. I'll point to resources and be able to help you surface your own answers for yourself, because this isn't about me telling you how to live. It's about you deciding for yourself how you want to live. And we do that when we can be free of these operating instructions, these rules, these beliefs, these self-limiting beliefs that say I can't, or I shouldn't, or I mustn't, or I must, or I can only. These self-limiting beliefs that keep us stuck repeating the same patterns over and over again and getting the same results over and over again. So if that's something that you're interested in, something that you would like to be free of, let's set up a call. You can find a link in the description to set up that call. You can pick a day and time that works for you. We'll talk on the phone. And until then, be kind to yourself, brother, and I'll talk to you soon.